Welcome to the podcast From Prison to President. I didn't know how long I'd be in, but I knew it wouldn't be more than 12 months. Now, I spent 261 days in prison, and every day I wrote, I tracked my thoughts, I tracked my goals, tracked what I ate, what I did, everything. I read 29 books while I was there, and it basically rebuilt how I thought, operated, and led people. Now, I'm sharing those pages with you each week. Now, since release, I've built 6 companies, sold 2 of them, and earned a real MBA. I've had wins, I've definitely had losses, but those 261 days built the foundation of resilience, perspective, and I think a relentless drive to keep moving things. I'm going to read my August 4th entry in my journal. Here it is. Everything is in the journal. I wrote almost every day. Many thoughts run through my head. I fight my mind on how I should think about people. I sometimes think people are not worth helping. I think while I'm here, I deal with people who have very little desire to do anything better with their lives. Therefore, I see no reason to help them. I hope when I return to the real world, I will change my viewpoint on people. I would expect I will. Now, people must help people. When I try to help someone, it will not only help them get what they want, but I will feel better in the process. And when I feel better, you will do better work and be more willing to help the next person. It is a positive cycle which will perpetuate other positive occurrences. When you deny someone help, you are also denying positive thoughts and therefore breaking the positive cycle. Pretty big words there. Inside, it was very easy to get jaded, right? I mean, you see people, you kind of naturally gave up on some people, and you start to believe that maybe they weren't worth helping. But it was really a lie. That's kind of like a trap that keeps you in a negative cycle. Now, when I wrote this, I was realizing that helping others is less about fixing them and more about fixing yourself. Now, it reminds you that you have something to give. Everyone has something to give. Now, there's a guy. He was actually my roommate. He was the roommate that I had the longest. Now, he was a complicated guy. I will say that. He killed a man in a bar fight. He was very giving, very loyal. He was quiet. He was definitely older and very patient. And he ran the wood shop. And one day he asked me if I would like to make something in a wood shop. I told him, yeah, I would love to. I'd love to make a jewelry box for my mom, but I have no clue when it comes to that stuff. He just kind of smiled and laughed, said, well, let's build it together. For 2 weeks, he taught me he like how to square the corners, how to smooth the grain, depending on which way it went with the sandpaper, line the inside with felt, which is totally really easy once you understand how to do that. He never rushed me, never made me feel like stupid, like I didn't know what I was doing. And when I finally finished, I remember running my hand over the lid and realizing something like simple about it. Ed didn't have to help me, but he did. He wanted to help. He enjoyed helping. And that really changed me, because that box wasn't just a gift from my mom. It was proof that one person's patience can restore another person's belief in good. Now, that was the moment I started to understand what this journal was really about. Helping and being helped are the same cycle. It's one and the same. It's one of the things that keeps us human. Now, here's the second part from my August 4th. When you deny that person, what enters your mind to say no? He doesn't need my help, or he doesn't deserve it because he's maybe not good enough. No. He is wasting my time, which is the classical one. I don't want to help him because he's wasting my time. Remember, when you help someone else will help you also. If that person took the time and effort to ask you, then he deserves your attention and or your help. Now, that person is strong enough to admit to you he doesn't know something. The person who asks for help, in retrospect, is likely to be the better one than the one who doesn't ask for help. It's a positive cycle, so keep the cycle moving forward. When you read that, I don't know, so many memories. What made me think of that? I have no idea what I was thinking at that point in time, but reading it so many years later, 30 some years later, I mean, really just makes me think about a lot of different things. After I got out, I worked at nights as a server in a restaurant. It was a decent restaurant. It wasn't glamorous, but it turned out to be really one of the best business lessons I'd learned, because every night I'd wait on every type of person. Kind ones, rude ones, generous ones, demanding ones, all types. And that's the beauty about working as a server in a restaurant. Now, most people treated me like a human being, but some didn't. And at first I took it personally. I would get frustrated thinking, you have no idea what I've been through to get here, right? And it always ran in my mind. But over time, I learned really something important. Great service has nothing to do with who deserves it. It's about who you choose to be, There was one regular guy who complained all the time. He was horrible to wait on. I mean, no one wanted to wait on the guy. He was just not a fun guy. I mean, he would send food back. He always left small tips. Everyone avoided the guy. One night, I made a decision. I was going to treat him like a VIP guest. So I walked up, smiled. I already knew what his drink order was. I talked to him. I used his name a lot. And he left. I'm assuming it was normal. I don't think it changed him a bit, but it did change me. That's when I got customer service isn't about pleasing people. It's about practicing patience and empathy and being consistent. Even when it's hard or even doesn't feel good. Because if you stay calm and kind with someone who tests you, who makes you question humanity, you can handle anything in the business world and in life. That mindset later shaped how I built my companies. Clients, employees, investors, all the same rules apply. You don't get to decide who deserves respect or doesn't need respect. You constantly give respect to no matter who you're talking to. When I was inside, I was the guy in charge of the library. Was super lucky. So basically, I just opened and closed it every day. And there was a guy named Ray. And Ray would come into the library, fairly often. He'd sit and he'd thumb through books. So you could tell he wasn't reading them. So I asked him one time, hey, what do you like to read? And he said, I like to read about business. I said, great. So do I. So next time you come in, why don't we find a book, we can read it together and talk about it. It was fun. It was enlightening. And I just remember, especially the first time we sat and talked through it, he said, hey, pick a book. So I picked Think and Grow Rich. I thought, that's a great book. Super helpful. I always thought it was super helpful for me. So probably helpful for other people. We sat down and read that. And then the next one was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We read that together. And by the end of I don't know, it was a couple months or maybe 6 weeks, he was basically like just reading on his own. And I don't know if I taught him how to read. I didn't teach him how to read, but I think I gave him some confidence in reading. And it was great. It was really a great experience. Even the last day of prison, because he was getting out before I did, he walked up to me and, hey, thanks, Mike. You really made me feel like smart, and I really appreciate it. So obviously that moment stuck with me because it would stick with most people, I think. I think I needed that as much as he did. So helping him rebuilt something in me, not just him. So here's the challenge to you this week. When you see someone struggling, maybe an employee, a friend, a peer, whoever it is that you care about, don't look away and don't ignore it. Step in, lean in, offer some help. Keep that positive cycle going. It might just help you more than it helps them. Just maybe. Because when I talk about positive cycle, I always remember this one story. And I remember that really clearly. It was the second day that I was out. So still just kind of getting used to having, that freedom again, which doesn't really take too long. But I remember walking this kind of small coffee shop. And I don't drink coffee, by the way, but I always get in, get always something. So all I had was great friends, $20, a notebook full of plans and ideas, and a little bit of confidence. And I walked up to the woman behind the counter, asked what I'd been up to. It's kind of weird. She just said, hey, what have you been up to? I didn't know her, but for whatever reason, she said that. And it took me a few beats because I wasn't sure I wanted to say what I was going to say. I said, well, honestly, I just got out of prison. She looked at me for a second, just a couple beats, and said, well, then you must have some great stories to tell. And then without even saying anything else. She handed me my OJ. She gave me my bagel, looked me straight in the eye and said, "It's on me today. Have a good morning." And that was it. That was over. There was no other interaction. And that moment really hit me. And it still kind of gives me goosebumps as I talk about it. That stranger who I'd never met gave me one thing that I couldn't yet get. And that was belief. Should believe, right? Didn't even know me. But, it reminds me of like Ed and what he gave and Ray, what he gave. Those people gave something to me. I wasn't just giving them things to them, but it reminded me that no matter where you are, kindness from one person can flip an entire mindset for both parties, not just one. So that day, as I basically sat and had my orange juice and bagel, I said, you know what? I'm never going to walk past someone who's trying to get better and not at least giving them some encouragement. At the very least, give them something. Because when someone gives you belief, it's your responsibility to pass it on. And that's why you may say, "Good job," when you see a kid riding a bike for the first time, like without his training wheels. That's why you say, "Look, the house looks nice," after somebody may be painting it or whatever. That's why you say those things. That's what this journal entry is all about. The cycle of help. Inside prison, outside prison, in business, in life, and everything. Honestly, it's all the same. One person's choice to care can start a whole chain reaction that rebuilds families, companies, communities. Those are my thoughts from August 4th. If it means something to you, share it with someone you care about, someone who's building or struggling, or maybe they're starting over. And whatever you do, don't miss the next episode next week, because sometimes it's just one line on one page that changes your life. And if you could do me a huge favor and leave a 5-star review wherever you get this podcast, it would be a help to me so I can help others that may be struggling. So keep moving it all forward. Your community needs you. See you next week.